What's good, y'all? It's Aaron, aka the Anime Anthology, aka the CEO and editor in chief for Off Black Magazine. And today we're here with another spotlights interview with someone who I've actually been wanting to interview for a very long time. Um, Someone who's done a lot of really cool stuff in the gaming space and in other spaces as well. Um, if you don't know her, then you haven't been paying attention. You know what I mean? So we need to get you on the ball. Okay. Um, but I'm gonna let her introduce herself.
Okay. Well, hi everybody at home and of Black Mag family. My name's Jayan Lopez to be precise. And I'm the CEO and founder of Black Belt Gamers. I'm a game consultant. I work a lot in the video game industry, specifically to heighten Black women's voices in gaming and also keep them safe and try and disrupt the industry in any which way we can. We're a grassroots org that started as a Facebook group in 2015 and since have started working as consultants, creating events in media, creating content, and always putting Black women at the forefront of those elements. Um, I love fashion, I love gaming, so I often try to intersect the two. I consult with brands in and studios on character development or for brands that are non-endemic or not in the gaming industry, trying to help them get in and connect with audiences. And I'm an honorary professor at the Norwich University of the Arts. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. British, obviously, born in London, raised in London, now living in the and working in the States. And
Mhm.
yeah.
So we ain't gonna talk about gaming and stuff like that. But yeah, Jay Ann's someone who I think you've been around since 2015. So this is 10 years, which is crazy. I didn't realize until you tweeted the other day. I was doing research and you tweeted the other day like this is the 10-year anniversary. This year is the Black Girl Gamers. And I said I don't know how I missed that.
It's crazy.
Um, did you think you're gonna make it 10 years in? Did you think you're gonna make it 10 years?
I didn't even know what this was gonna be, if I'm being honest with you. So no, I didn't have any like idea. 10 years is a long time. 10 years is exhausting. 10 years is great. 10 years is tiring. Yeah.
You know, and that's real. You know, we talked to my guy DJ Taylor Senpai, who actually last year was DJing for 10 years, and we
Mm,
talked about his 10-year anniversary and everything that he, did to get to where he was and
mm.
everything. And for you, someone who the proof is in the pudding, right? You know, as gaming consultants, you've done a lot of stuff, and I want to say, like, start off. How do you feel like gaming has changed your life?
Wow. That's a good question. As gaming, I feel like the answer that I'll give you is that gaming changed my life in terms of being a very core storytelling mechanism for me. I really enjoy games as storytelling mechanisms and medium. I think it's a brilliant medium that's often overlooked when it comes to conveying ideas, new worlds. For me, it provides a level of escapism. And I really have to balance myself with how much I try to escape into this world. Uh, but it really just allows me to see that anything is possible. Anything you want in terms of an idea of a game, regardless if I agree with it or not, can exist. Um, so that's beautiful. And then the idea that like I, the fact that I have a career is not down to games, it's down to me, if I'm being
Mhm.
honest with you. Because like you mentioned culture earlier on, that's the kind
Yeah,
of person that I am where it's like I want to build something, I'm gonna build it.
yeah.
And that's nothing to do, that's less so to do with gaming, more so to do with the tenacity, I believe. Not to sound egotistical, but um yeah, so but gaming has been a beautiful medium by which I've connected with many other black women, and that was the main purpose of Black Girl Gamers, was to connect with other black women. And again, given the person that I am, to speak out in the industry, call it out on any kind of elements that I feel are bigoted or need to improve, and not just me like as a personal opinion, but as an opinion that affects community and
Hmm. Yeah.
is evidence and based in factual data. By that, my life has changed. It's I like to. It is interesting going from a content creator in the
Hmm.
hair and beauty space and then kind of going into gaming. I don't. I started gaming as a content creator and I kind of chose not to go down that path.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. Like I know, like when I go to events and stuff, and you see a bunch of content creators and they don't know who I am, and they're like, in a way, they're kind of like, "Why is she here?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about why I'm here. Yeah? I'm here because I need to be."
Mhm.
But it's very interesting to kind of be a bit more on the back end, by choice and by circumstance too. So yeah, that's gaming. My career in gaming has had a huge impact on my life. Huge. Um, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be working in the States without it, if I'm being honest with
Yeah.
you. And that's real. Like the work that I've done, the career that I've built with the support of, others in the industry and
Mhm.
community. I would never want to act like it was me, me, me. I like to collaborate with people. That's the main thing. And but I'm grateful to the fact that there are pieces of things that were just me doing it. Um, yeah, it's been a huge steering force to who I am today. Like the business acumen that I've acquired. I never studied business, studied
Mhm.
science, public speaking, working with talent, consulting, like all of these things have come by the way of my working with Black Girl Gamers or working independently as a consultant or on my own thing. So yeah, it's been a huge change.
And like talking about you, right, and the stuff that you're interested, you kind of touched on it a little bit, like in our intro. But how do you marry your love for fashion and gaming, and how does that influence your interaction with gaming companies?
Ah, that's interesting. It's a good question. I like that. Um, To be honest, like I've gaming and fashion have always been two parts of my life. So like I said before, Black Girl Gamers were existing, that I had a beauty platform that I co-founded and worked on, and just because I was a beauty influencer doesn't mean I stopped gaming. It didn't mean like I stopped having an interest in games. And it was that beauty platform that inspired me to make Black Girl Gamers. And the element of fashion in gaming is like it exists. That's why there's merch. That's why there's elements of franchising that you see when it comes to like gaming IP. The two areas intersect. I think what I like to do is more less so of a merch franchising perspective, from my personal style, is more so like this is my style. How do I work my love for gaming in it? And not so that it's loud. I've always said this all the time, like just because you love Harry Potter does not mean you need to be in every Deathly Hallows piece of everything. It doesn't need to. You got the necklace, you got the scarf,
Hmm.
you're wearing robes. Like it's. I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing.
Hmm.
Me personally, I like to like gaming is a part of me, but it is not me. The
Yeah.
same as fashion is a part of me, but it's not just me. I'm a myriad of things. So
Hmm.
um when I work within fashion and gaming, and like one of the events that I created and co-produced, Gamer Girls Night In, is
Yeah.
specifically marrying those two parts, is because I know there are mostly women and other people as well, non-binary,
Hmm.
and just people who are enjoying the areas of beauty, fashion, and gaming, and they never seem to get it right. Like brands never seem to get it right. So we created that in 2020 and then had another one in 2022. And each time they sell out, and I'm bringing it back again after a number of years, just after a break,
Yeah.
because these are two intersections that can easily marry. But it's
Hmm.
like people, because of the perception of gaming being a very male hobby that was very on purpose, by the way, very much a strategy,
Hmm.
because of the perception of gaming being a male hobby and gaming being quite quote unquote masculine initially, well, not initially, but after the crash,
Yeah.
um, in the 1980s, they then juxtapose anything that was feminine or for women or anything for a feminine person to be anti-gaming, to be a complete opposite. And that is not the case at all. As we're seeing with, the increased rise in like indie games and cozy games and games that are catering, Genshin Impact, and is it Genshin Impact? The fashion? No, it's not. It's another
That's like
game.
instant.
It's what's the game? The fashion.
Hmm. I
I
know what you're
have,
talking about. I know what you're
you know,
talking about too.
it's got the similar art style as Genshin Impact.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I can't remember the name of that game. But the fashion's a core part of that game. So the two are actually easily marryable, but for some reason, well, we know the reasons, the two have been seen to be juxtapositions of each other. And why, for me, it works so easily is that because they are both within me. They're both things that I enjoy, so they marry quite easily. So that's pretty much how like the two intersect and how I try and do that. So like for Gamer Girls Night In, we have panels, but we also have drinks. We also have beauty bars, a nail bar, gaming areas, DJ, goodie bags. And the goodie bags will have gaming items and beauty items in it. It's not hard when you're catering to something that you already like and love and just haven't seen. So yeah, that's kind of how I do it as well.
I want to circle back to like taking initiative and talking about the stuff that I don't want to go too deep into it. Talk about stuff that happened on Twitter, right? It's rolled, right? New presidency in America and a lot of stuff that's going on.
Mm.
Attacks on DEI, attacks on
Yeah.
diversity, and all that kind of stuff, right? Last year, you was going to battle
Yeah.
on the Twitter, and one, no, kudos to you because I would have checked out a long time ago. But also,
I
it's
kind of
part of
did.
our role. It's it sucks that it's still happening today,
Yeah.
right? And so last year Black Earth Gamers faced some heavy adversity with your role as being game consultants,
Hmm.
right? And I want to ask how did you take those attacks, and did these attacks affect your job as consultants?
Oh, that's a good question. So I'll give a little bit context to anyone that doesn't know what happened, first of all. So last year, started around February, March time, there was
Yeah.
just like an uptick in attacks on organizations that consult specifically for games. And there was an element to this that happened before us, but then we started getting targeted as because of what we do. So there was an element of this where like there was a group on Steam which was kind of like anti DEI games,
Mhm.
and it was any game that had been consulted on by another organization, Sweet Baby Inc., our organization, but also other any kind of game that just had a black or brown person at the forefront or in the cast, or a queer person at the forefront or in the cast, or had elements of um I guess anti-racism rhetoric, anti-transphobia, queerphobia
Yep.
rhetoric, like any kind of game that you know offered kind of a fair opinion on
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So
I
that
would I
had,
would I would say it was like around the Forspoken. That's
yeah, and
like when it
well,
exploded. Like it was there before, but
it
that's
was
kind
there
of like when
before,
it
but right.
exploded was with Forspoken. Yeah.
So wait, so how it happened was that obviously Sweet Baby Inc. was targeted first, and then we were also on that list. So with Forspoken, rather than, and this is what happens with internet and this is not to be taken the wrong way, but there's a
Mhm.
really thin line blurred between content creation and journalism. And a
Yeah.
lot of people are not journalists. They're very much content creation. They don't know how to do their research.
Mhm.
They don't know how to take a neutral
Yep.
point of view. And they can't read. They can't
Hey,
read
hey, that's
because
true.
if when it comes to the consultation of Forspoken, there are a number of factors that affected this. Number one, a lot of gamers, white male gamers, are very the gaming feeds into their ego and their self-esteem. They're very much they're used to being catered to, and this is not me just saying that. This is historical in terms of the 1980s market crash, them being targeted as a core consumer for gaming from companies like Nintendo, Sega, Sony at the time, and how that continued in marketing.
Yeah.
That's a fact. So now the consumers that are in this demographic um, have this idea, and then just to set the scene that the world has racism. That's just clear.
Hmm.
Like
Yep.
we had systemic racism. How many countries were colonized by white countries? That's obvious. It's logical and it's historical. So with those things combined, that demographic, especially specifically racist white men in the gaming sphere, get affronted when they see one, black women at the forefront, and two, an organization that um, advocates for DEI, um, getting work and working with the studios that most likely they want to work with, you know? And so when we did work on Forspoken, which we put a very specific statement out in, which was created in cohorts with the client
Yeah.
on what we can and cannot say, we were very specific about what we actually worked on. A very
Hmm.
late stage consultancy, which means that the game was already almost done.
Yeah.
Um, Worked on colorism in terms of skin tones, so making sure that the skin tones were adequate, not grey,
Hmm.
etc. Texturism and how the market will react. Lo and behold, we definitely pinned how the market would react to um and rather than listen to that, a lot of these white men just saw that we consulted and they automatically assumed that we forced this character in there. As we
Yeah.
mentioned in our statement, we were in a very late stage of the consultation, so we did not force any of it. We didn't write any of the story,
Hmm.
but they cannot look beyond their own bias. They cannot
Yeah.
look beyond their own bias to seek what's in the public domain, and then it just snowballed from there. And
Yep.
whenever people, there's always been this sentiment within working with Black girl gamers, and a lot of our management team and our community are aware of it. It's like that people will grasp at anything to bring us down, to try and tarnish our reputation. And that's not to say that we don't do things that might be mistakes, but we are very quick to address those mistakes because we're human. But also, there are people who are bad actors that intentionally do not like the fact that we exist, and that's what happened.
Mhm.
Including like someone who used to be a big part of the community now who's quite transphobic. Let's just put
I,
it that
I I think I know who you're talking about.
way. So it's quite transphobic and has
Yeah,
views that don't match up with our community policy in
yeah,
terms of discriminations and phobias. Because we agree, like just because you're a black woman doesn't mean you can't be a bad actor.
that's true.
Um, taking the momentum, the negative momentum against us to just pile on and pile on and pile on. So it wasn't just on Twitter, even though it started there. It became
Yeah,
on Instagram, YouTube, our inbox, death threats. And you kind of asked, like, how did that affect us? That definitely affect us, not from the monetary perspective, almost actually, but we kind of yeah we would have had that in that case we would have had a grounds for a little lawsuit if
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but our reputation precedes us, and a lot of people within the industry kind of knew it was happening, and just kind of like it is what it is. Like
they
we
just
don't.
yeah they shrugged. A lot of them just shrugged.
Yeah,
A lot of them
they
was like,
shrugged. And it was like
hmm
it is what it is. We don't really believe like what they're saying. We know that you do good work, which is kind of great for us. But I do wish the industry took that moment very seriously because it wasn't just
yeah,
us that got doxing, death threats. It's a very
mm,
very serious symptom of something that the industry sowed in a long time ago, which
time
was
ago.
heightened by the political climate. Um, and so, yeah, it did affect us mentally, 100%. It affected me mentally. It made me pull away, made me hide away, become very private, just because these people were very overzealous and they have nothing else to boost their ego other than feeling like they are the be all and end all of nerddom. And I'm not like that, to be
Yep.
honest with you. So, it's sad that that happened, and I'm also sharing my empathy with the fellow black women and other marginalized people, not just black women who were affected by this, like Alyssa
Mhm.
Mcante, who currently has like a lawsuit against one of the content creators that was
Yep.
spewing a lot of misinformation. um it's a very serious symptom of a number of things that unfortunately we are at the receiving end of. And I think it's also like just this disingenuous idea that we should be grateful in the first place,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, when you have a character from Norse mythology or etc., like those places, you expect them to do their knowledge on that. You cannot go out and put out something that's based in Norse or Celtic mythology that is inaccurate, right? You have to, these games do their research about it. So we're asking for the same thing. And no, we shouldn't be. I get we're grateful that we had these representations, but we also shouldn't be grateful that they are inaccurate and they were made from how you see black people, not actually how black people are.
That's true.
Um, so I always between the two, like I'm always like, yeah, great, and then I'm also like,
Talking to the gaming, getting the gaming culture, something I want to know from you. What do you think is still? What is something you feel is still missing from gaming in this current era?
ooh, that's a good question. Something I feel is still missing in this current era. I feel like I feel like MMOs, RPGs could be so much better than they are. And and this is a very uneducated opinion because I have not played an MMORPG since Guild Wars 2. Um, but I really enjoyed Guild Wars 2, and I'm waiting for the
Mhm.
next iteration of that if it's ever gonna come,
Come out.
which I don't think so. I don't know because they
It's not
haven't
looking
said it.
likely.
No, it's not. But what I liked about Guild Wars 2 was that it was an evolution on the MMO model. Like you could dodge whilst casting, you had the living world story, there was persistence in certain events that affected the world by players. So like
Mhm.
I never forget like there was this one of the expansions and you had to fight the Clockwork Doll and you all had to team up to fight this clock like everyone in the map. And it was just a great sense of unity, the world v world mode. Um there was a lot in that game, and I I like a lot of MMOs have like the standard kind of skill sets, the quests and all that stuff. I'm kind of looking for, and if anyone's listening to this, please correct me. I am not averse to being wrong. I'm looking for an MMO that kind of breaks the mold again, that kind of makes things more exciting, making me want to jump on, and kind of get into this battle, customize my character. Because I feel like ESO's still around, but it's not really like
Yeah.
innovative. Where's the
Mhm.
innovative MMO? There was one that I was following, um, Ashes of Creation,
Yeah,
but
I did hear about that one. Yeah.
I don't know when that one's coming out because it's been in development for quite a long time. And that one had like building nodes in it and stuff. But I'm just looking for something that's really fresh, that's gonna threaten to break my PC.
And so you're in this weird point in gaming where no one really.
Yeah, it's like I think that's the part that I miss the most, like having a good, decent MMO. Because like, God, I think the only MMO I play right now is Palia, and that's a cozy MMO in a way.
Mhm.
Um, but like, I really miss trying different ones out and seeing what's different. And I love fantasy. I'm a fantasy girl. I love the mages and all that kind of stuff. So for me, like when I was playing Guild Wars 1, I loved the expansion packs as well, and they did something really good. Is that each expansion pack was inspired by a different culture. So
Mm.
you had the expansion pack. I can't remember their name, so forgive me. But you had the one that was inspired by Asian culture, like
Mhm.
specific East Asian culture. Then you had one that was inspired by um, East African, maybe like East and West African culture.
Mhm.
And it came with a new class, and then you had another expansion pack that was inspired by like more Nordic kind of culture as well. And I was like, this is great. Like this
Mhm.
is so good. And then in Guild Wars 2, you had something similar as well, and they tried to incorporate more elements of those cultures in the base game and then also kind of expand on them. And you got mounts, and it was so good. Like I don't think
Mhm.
people realize how good it was to like beating as a game in terms of just
Mhm.
like hitting those marks for um everyone can feel represented in that kind of
Yeah.
game. Or many people at the very least.
Yeah.
And then also the mechanics were great, like the classes were great. Yeah, so I miss like a good, decent MMO. I really
Mhm.
do. And I'm not talking about first person shooters anymore because it seems like everyone wants, I don't mind them, but like that's not all I want to play, you
Yeah.
know?
No, I agree. And I feel like first person shooters aren't in a good place either. But
Yeah, they're a bit boring.
the adventure games and action adventure styles are doing probably the best right now.
Yeah.
I
I know
think.
like and also like seeing Sony has definitely like invested in like
Mhm.
first person stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for some of that because the quality that comes out of that is great as well. So like you said, the Assassin's Creed. I'm looking forward to Ghost of Yotei, that's coming out as well. And even that got pushed back, even though the actress is Japanese and it's a Japanese samurai woman and those exist historically. Like again, you can't appease idiocy.
I mean, that's the same thing when people said, "Well, oh, well." uh, When people say when they're like, "Oh, well, if it was just the other, if it wasn't Yasuke, it was just the other one, then we'd be fine with Assassin's Creed." Well, Ghost
But
of Yotai came out.
and now look, can I
um,
direct you to the new game?
but, there have been critiques of current gaming culture, right? We talk of
Mm,
lack of optimization, crunch, price of
mm.
entry, online toxicity, all that kind of stuff, right? Do you think that gaming culture has taken a turn for the worse, or has it gotten better?
Ooh, I, d- hmm, I don't
Got to
know.
think on this one. Got to think on this one.
Yeah, I don't want to speak because I in areas I can see where it's gotten better. Like I can see where certain companies and certain um studios. So like I think last year Riot made a decent video talking about their upcoming stuff for like Valorant and League, and but also included like how they expect players to behave and what they're not going to tolerate. That was brilliant. So it's good to see that kind of thing, but it's not very often, and it's not. very prevalent. And again, the sheer fact that last year happened shows me that have we really gotten better? But at the same time, there's a lot more representation within the games, even if the number of employees within the actual industry itself isn't necessarily increasing by volumes. Um, and it's great that we see more stories, which is a significant indicator of like, yeah, the culture's developing. Like people are getting more interested in stories that do not just revolve around cis white Western men.
Yeah.
Um, so I would, it's kind of like you go two steps forward and you take one step back, and then two steps forward and take one step back. So I think there is progression, but I think it's in certain areas and very slow. Um, Whereas in other areas, the elephant in the room is not being addressed, and so it just stays the same year on year.
Yeah.
Because again, I've said this from the very beginning of creating Black Girl Gamers. If games marketed the behavior they want from their players as well as they marketed their games, the consumer base would have to self prune. It
Hmm.
would have to like those bad actors would either have to leave or change. Um, and that is an indication of how much these companies care about their femme, non-binary, trans, black and brown creators, consumers and creators. Um, and it's sad. It's interesting to see that it's not at the forefront of everyone's priorities.
Yeah, sure. The buck has to stop somewhere, and they haven't really. They're trying to still make as much money as possible,
Right.
but not realizing that a lot of the people that play those games also play it. Like everyone loves a new character, whether black, white, whatever. It's only the people online that'll be like, "Oh no, I hate this character." And that's yeah, but let's move on to some fun questions. Got some fun stuff, and then got one
Okay.
more section, right? Um, what do you think is the most overrated game in history? And what is the most underrated?
Oh, most overrated game in history, FIFA.
Ooh, okay.
All right, I'm from London, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Big FIFA country.
Big FIFA country. Some of the two most popular games that specifically like boys and the younger generation would play, FIFA and NBA 2K. Every year, for the most part, in a FIFA, you're getting slight changes in that game and you're playing
Mm.
for the same damn thing. I'm not wasting my money. Absolutely not. I'm not falling for the okie doke. And
That's fair.
they know I say this. Right. Babe, I'm not falling for the okie doke. You're
Mhm.
marketing the same thing over and again. And some games, yes, they have like changes and the players change. And I get that. But for me, it's overrated. For underrated game, hmm.
I was like underrated's the hard one. Overrated's the easy one because you got it on your mind.
Because the games that I like, they're not necessarily underrated. I mean, Mirror's Edge for me, I love Mirror's Edge. It's more, and the thing is, I don't remember what the reception was when it first came out, so I can't say it was underrated then because I don't know. But it's more of a cult classic, I think.
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of underrated. Like it's had a cultural revolution, but
Yeah, but
yeah.
I really love that game. Just because I love the parkour element, the pacing, the I like games that get my blood pumping. All right, no, wait. Scrap that. Sorry. I love Mirror's Edge, but scrap that. Spellbreak. Did you ever hear of
Okay, okay. I've heard of Spell Break. Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
my Lord and Savior Spellbreak? I was so good at that game. All right, for those who are listening, Spellbreak was a battle royale, but with elemental powers for the most
Hmm.
part. So if you think about like Avatar Last Airbender, but with like you're in the teams of three and you're trying to make it to the end, and combine that with Fortnite. So you've got the ring that closes every round, right? And you can assign different gauntlets with different powers. So you can have fire on one hand, ice on the other. You can switch them, and whichever your dominant is on your right hand, you have like the more dominant skills, and the other one just has like a couple of skills. And then also you can get attach a special skill like teleporting, flying, going invisible, dodging, rewinding to cater to your kind of play style. When I tell you I was a bad gal at that game, I was a bad gal at that game. No one was seeing me. Yeah. I love elemental stuff. I love mage. I swear. No
Hmm.
swearing.
You can
I
swear. Go ahead.
I love mage shit. So like I was so good at that game and then it kind of flopped. And now it's run on community servers. I'm gonna see if I can set up a community server for myself.
I
Hopefully.
was about to say, I thought the servers were still up, or at least people were still talking about it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try and set up one so that hopefully it doesn't cook my PC. But
I need to upgrade the
yeah,
CPU
you right.
first.
I need to upgrade that first. But like that game for me was so the thing is, loads of people love that game.
Hmm.
Really loads of people love that game. I don't think they marketed it well. I don't
No.
think they did that part of the piece well because to play that game, I introduced so many people to that game. To play that game, and if you play battle royales, is to love it, right?
Hmm.
Is it got your adrenaline pumping? It was just so sick, and oh, rest in peace, man.
It was. I
Rest-
remember when it came. I remember the announcement for it. I remember the few trailers I saw for it. I'm not a battle royale guy, but I usually
Mm.
at least try them just to see if I like them or not. That's one of the ones I didn't try. It's one of the ones I didn't try.
I have clips of me whooping ass in that game. I was a, oh, it was so beautiful. Mm. I'll send you these clips. You'll see.
Okay. Okay. So, would you ever create your own video game, and what would it look like?
I actually would, and it's very much like the game Relooted that was coming out actually. So like a long time ago on BGG, I tweeted out that we have the Indiana Jones, we have the Tomb Raiders, and in my mind they're all thieves. So like, they're going
That is
into
true.
temples and
Hmm.
stealing things that don't belong to them.
That's very
Um,
true.
And so I was like, okay, what's the reverse of that? And the reverse of that for me was going into the museums and stealing that stuff back. And so very much what Relooted is. So I love that. And then I would also love a kind of I'd bring Spellbreak back,
Hmm.
100%. If I had the funds, that game is the first one that's coming back. And then, and then I would love like a Guild Wars 3, like an
Hmm.
MMO that has fantasy elements and not necessarily the one thing I think I would change is that it wouldn't be based in medieval European aesthetic. It would be based in either West African aesthetic,
Hmm.
Moorish aesthetic, like from back in the day.
Yeah.
And it would have different elements similar to Guild Wars 2. So you'd have the PvP, the PvE.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe the spell break element would be the PvP. I don't know. Maybe
Mm.
combine.
Okay.
Yeah, but there'd be a lot of different classes, mounts, a huge map, loads of different quests. You'd have your own plot of land, you could garden, you could farm. I'd have all the elements of games that I love in it. Great storytelling, farming and house care and community, action, magic, a variety of classes, a customize like having a great level of customization when it comes down to your skill sets and talents and skills as a character. Um, Dope narrative, if I haven't said that already. Great voice acting, dodging whilst casting. Because
Dodging while cat.
why must I stand still? And then, like games that do that, I get so annoyed, which is why I love Guild Wars 2.
Mhm.
Why must I stand still when I'm casting? If I see someone about to shoot me, am I still gonna stand there? Like, no, I'm gonna move.
Okay.
So yeah, just now you've got me excited. I don't have funds.
So, which black character do you think has the best? Well, which black characters do you think have the best hairdos, and which ones do you think have the worst? Also, what hairstyle do you wish to see on a video game character?
Okay. Black hairstyle, that was the worst. I know people are gonna ask me to say the Killmonger cut, but I don't think it was the worst. I just think it's out like too prevalent. It's too
Yeah,
overused. It's not a bad haircut. I've seen people in real life with it, but it's just overused
yeah.
too much. The worst haircut. What character is the worst haircut? I'm trying to think. Name me some black characters, and I'm space. I'm thinking Miles. No, he was fine. I'm thinking
Miles in the second one was bad. Miles in the first one to me was good. I don't like. I mean, he has the Killmonger, but I think his in the
the
second one
second
is
one with the
bad.
Killmonger. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because that was
It would.
unnecessary. You just switch it to that. There was
It made
it
no.
was unnecessary. It
It
made
made
no
no
sense.
sense. Him
He
having
didn't
braids or him having like a mini fro would have been fine with me. It would have made sense to
grown
his
out.
character.
It would have grown out, right?
Yeah,
Just having random locks is like you didn't be okay.
it didn't fit him either. You know,
No, it
like
doesn't
as
fit
a
him as a character. No, he's not that kind of guy in that way. I didn't believe it. Um, I don't. I'm trying to think of a black character that I've played that had bad hairdo. I just think like the just the customizations for certain games back in the day are just coming to mind in general, like the blocky afros,
Mhm.
the square braids that like seem to like just sit on top of the scalp. Like that no particular characters coming into mind, but those kind of
that
custom,
kind of style. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
is coming to mind. In terms of best hairdo, let me think. Like again, I'm going back to custom character customization. So if you think about like again, I'm going to bring up Guild Wars 2, but when they expanded with a lot of the braids, I've said this before, they that was a really defining moment for me. Even a game called Loftier, which is a cozy game, it's not out yet, but they've just added like hundreds of black hairstyles. And yes, it's in more of a bubblegum texture, so it's more like cartoony because that's the style of the game. But these types of styles are in there. They're very good, and they're not just short as well. Because I think like when games do black hair, they tend to do they do the afro. Now they're more educated. They do tend to do the afro, the Killmonger cut, the braids, the slick back, and they do a curly fro or whatever. But they always forget we can have length too.
Yeah.
But they never do the long dreads or the long braids or the
Hmm.
long hair or the bigger afro or they always stop at a certain length because that's what they believe we can grow to.
Hmm.
And I think that is good to see. So Lofted did that, and I'm looking forward to playing that game, even though it's like a very cozy
Okay.
game. Um, I mean, this kind of you've put me on the spot, and now I feel like I'm someone so obvious that I'm everyone who's listening. I am blanking right now because he's asked me.
Hmm.
I do feel like there's someone that I'm missing that's so obvious that I'm just like, oops. They like South of Midnight. Hazel has
Oh,
two braids, and
that's a good
I
one.
think for me the one thing I love that game. So this isn't like a critique of the game at the whole, but with her early style, she has like more of the like the two braids, but the texture is straight.
Mhm.
And then she gets like these other braids, these other cane rows that go back. And each time she has like the gold cuffs, which I thought was a great nod to black womanhood. If you haven't had
Yeah.
gold cuffs in your cane rows and your braids or extensions, whatever you want to call them, then that was probably a core part of black girlhood that you may have missed or just didn't get to have, but it is a core part of black girlhood. And then her last kind of outfit, she has her plaits or braids in a bun.
Hmm.
Um, and that was like, I like to see her hair transform throughout the game. And that last hairstyle I think was done really well. The first two are great, but again, they're in a more of a straight
Yeah.
texture. Like it doesn't look like as if my hair were to be plaited. It looked like straight hair was plaited onto her hair. But the fact that they had the cornrows or cane rows, how we say it in London,
Yeah.
um, was good. Like I like the fact that her hair changed with the story as well. That was a beautiful element.
Okay. Is there any hairdos you wish you could see on a character?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I think the longer hairstyles in terms of like longer locks, longer braids,
Oh.
um, more sculptural hairstyles, straight backs, more so like that are not like slapped on top of the scalp that actually like do
Hmm.
um afro puffs, bantu knots, more. I
Bantu.
would love to see bantu
I
knots.
think there is a character with Bantu knots that I'm thinking of. I'm trying to think.
Niobe from Endgame.
Yeah. I was like, I'm trying to think of that.
I would love to see more of that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, there's so many. There's so many styles that you could have. Fro hawks. Even like nailing my texture as well, because
Yeah.
sometimes they can't do either or. They sometimes do the straight. they do the really kinky afro because they just see it as a shape and they just create the shape.
Yeah.
But like being able to hit the textures in between is something that I would like to see as well, like especially like when it's out.
Yeah.
Um, um, Even like there was this hairstyle in Guild Wars 2, and I believe it was Guild Wars 2, but they had like the braids and a ponytail.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be cane rows going back here, and then a
Yeah.
ponytail, and then the braids would come down at the back, and I was just like, that is stunning, stunning.
How would you advise on someone making a lasting and engaging community?
Ooh, um, I think the first thing you need to do is ask yourself why you're doing this, because a lot of people say they want community and they don't know, they don't. They want followership.
Mm-hmm.
And those are two different things. And I think that word has been conflated with content creators using the word community for so long when it's really just people following their content as opposed to actually having a community. Because a community is where everyone kind of gives, not just one person receives. Um, and I think people struggle with that in general. We're in a like a very capitalistic society, and we're kind of imbued with capitalist ideals. So, just understanding that community is where everyone gives and everyone kind of receives as well, as much as you can, and also to recognize that um, when you first want to start your community, you have to set bylaws. Doesn't matter what marginalized group or whatever group your subsection or culture or whatever you're catering to, you have to have rules and conduct by which you manage this group. Because what if you don't, you're just going to allow all different types of behavior to come in and misconstrue the purpose of your group. So having rules, conduct is very important to creating an everlasting community. I think those are the two things that I think about. Do you really want to do this? And then two, what are the rules and conduct that you want to create to make sure that your community stands the test of time and serves who you're supposed to be serving?
What are the next steps for J. Ann Lopez?
Oh, next steps for me. I know what they are. I'm just trying to find a way to word it because I've only spoken to myself about these. Um, I'm continuing my consulting in this space. Um, we've got a number of projects on the way at like Black Girl Gamers to, they're kind of changing some things. We're taking away some things and we're putting some new things out there. So that's what's next as well. Um, I'm writing a book. So that's another thing that I'm doing. Um, and yeah, I think for me personally, just also exploration outside of gaming because I don't want it to be the be all and end all of my life and what I align myself with. Because, like I said, I love games, but they are not me; they are a part
Yeah.
of me. So it's very important that I enable that separation. Um, so yeah, that's what's next for me right now.
Okay, excited, excited. Do you have the title of the book?
I'm not going to say it.
Oh, off black exclusive. Oh, okay.
I don't mind doing that later, but yeah, not right now.
And so for the last thing we're going to do today is something called last words. And this is I like chaos. Okay, I'm a true hater.
Oh,
Okay, it's just true. I'm a true hater. Okay,
okay.
all right. But you don't have to do any. You don't have to spew any hate. You could also do love. I've had people be very positive in this segment. Okay, so but it's just last words, something that you want people to know. Positive. It could be neutral. It could be negative. It could be haterish. Okay, it could be anything. Okay, but what would you say are your last words?
Stop competing, start collaborating. I think that's both positive and negative because it could be pointed towards some people, and also is great general advice. I think like over the 10 years of BGG, I've seen a lot of people come and go, and I've seen a lot of people attempt to compete, and that's not to say like I'm kind of person like it takes more than one person. It takes a village. So there's people doing similar things out there. Go and do it. I'm not gonna hold you against that at all. In fact, there's been times where we've had to pass on opportunities and been like, we can't do this, but here's so and so. That person can. That's the kind of person. And I think a lot of people don't have that mindset because I've witnessed things where there's no question as to why they're acting out there is out of competition, and I'm not trying to compete with nobody. Collaborating is good, and it also depends on who you collaborate with. Make sure you clarify who and understand the
Mhm.
values of that person. But I think also in just like observing the content creator space, how many like online brawls or in-person issues, even when you go to cons, so and so is not speaking to so and so for some stupid reason.
Yeah.
It's just grow up. Like, grow up a little bit. And
Mhm.
and and that's not to say everyone has to be hunky dory.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I think we would achieve so much more if you collaborated with people who see the same goal as you, work in a similar way, hopefully, as opposed to immediately heading for competition.
Mhm. Thank you, Jayanne, for coming on here.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. If you want to know more about Jayanne Lopez, you can look in the description.
Right.
Wherever this is, could be on many things. Could be on many things. Look in the description. Check out Black Girl Gamers if you're a black woman or someone who's non-binary. Go to their website and you can definitely join the disc. Well, not definitely, but you can join the.
Some verification. That's what you can.
There's a little verification in there. Join the Discord and yeah, connect with this great network of people in charge by a great person. And yeah, appreciate you for coming on and
No, thanks
thank
for
you.
having me. To be a little real, and I had some great questions actually. Questions I've never been asked before. You stumped me a couple of times, so that's great.